Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. And yes, I really wish it was Friday, but it's not. It's Wednesday, sadly enough. And I have to start off with saying, Happy May the 4th be with you. And listen, Star Wars don't pay me, but my God, that Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer, man, that is tasty. If you missed it, it dropped about, 30 minutes ago. I know Web Dave dropped it into the DM. I've watched it twice. I want to watch it 10 more times. It just looks wow. I mean, like really good. Welcome to a very special edition of Breakfast with Boom. If you are shocked that we're doing something live on Wednesday, it's because Boom is actually taking a day off on Friday to hang out with my brother Neo Mental, and we're going to see Doctor Strange into the multiverse of madness because I can't wait. I'm double masking. I'm bringing the wipes with me. I'm just gonna, I wanted to buy actually 4 seats and just, and have 2 of them as empty, but they wouldn't tell you that, which is crazy. I would have just wasted the money on the tickets, but here nor there. We're going to Friday morning at 10:30. We are no Breakfast with Boom Friday morning. That's why we're doing this today. Listen, let's get into, of course, why we are here and who is here with us. Most of the crew is here. Dreadpool might be making an appearance. Obviously, he works overnight, so we're going to see if we can get him here. But let's start with Web Dave. Dave, how the heck are you? Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, dude, I would not miss this for the world. This is going to be a fun show. We are so packed with stuff to talk about today. Oh my God, where to begin? And what a great panel. Oh my gosh, in Return of Crispy.
Yeah, that's right. Crispy Bomb is back, who obviously is on Primetime Gaming, which will next week be its first new day slot, not time slot, 7 p.m. Wednesdays from now on. Rather than Mondays, for a multitude of reasons. And we hope that you will travel with us. I've gotten a lot of great messages from people that are looking for something to watch. And again, I have to give credit where credit is due. Wilmy Hood, who's a very good friend of mine, very good friend of the community, he does have his show at 8 o'clock. So I think what you're going to do is we're going to be splitting viewership. And I asked that don't forget about Wilmy. If you are someone that watches his show, you have to leave hours at 8 o'clock. No harm, no foul, brother. Go support someone that supports everyone and get over and check out Gaming Outside the Box, which is a great program. Obviously we'll say that, of course, when we go live on Wednesday, because I don't want him to lose any views because we moved, and obviously, Wilmy's a very good friend. So, anyway, let's continue. John Wolf, brother, how the heck are you? Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Breakfast with Boom panel. Crispy, brother. It's an honor to have you on again, bro. How you doing, man? How you been? Good?
Oh, I'm good, buddy. Return of the Crispy.
Awesome, bro. Like Boom mentioned, we got some fire topics. I see that the chat's already going, Boom. So it's gonna be a good one, man. Let's get right into it. I'm excited to start chomping away at these topics, brother.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Listen, if you're an Xbox fan, buckle up, because the whole show is dedicated to 4 pounding topics regarding Xbox. Some big, some small, but all very interesting. And of course, return of the Crispy Bomb, best voice in the business. How are you, brother? How you feeling?
Oh, feeling great. We got great topics. Maybe some people will say speculation. There's too much there to.
Well, Speculation
really...
Town is a great place to hang out.
Yeah. But
I
think
I am a co-mayor. That's right.
Mav
and Pong Soul and I are triple co-mayors of Speculation Town. Great place to visit. You can raise your family there. Trust me, it'll be worth the investment.
But I got my coffee. I'm ready for this one. Let's do it.
All right, excellent. And of course, Fuzzy Belvedere, specifically, I'm happy that Crispy's here because we have a Gears topic, but I'm also happy because Fuzzy's here and we have, well, a Forza topic that might be a little spicy. I find it to be that big of a deal, but some people are trying to make that a deal when Sony seems to be making last gen and current gen games, and it's all fine, but we'll get into that. Fuzzy, how the hell are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. So glad we got Crispy back on here, and man, glad to be here with you, Boom and Dave and John. Man, this is just awesome topics here today. We're I just can't wait. So let
Yeah,
me
I
not
mean,
take
listen.
any more time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Real quick, I want to just throw this out there to the community because I found out yesterday watching one of my favorite YouTubers in Charlie from Emergency Awesome. I don't know if you know that channel. His content is just bonkers good. If you want to know anything about Marvel, Star Wars, whatever the hot topic is, he breaks it down. He's amazing, and he talked about it at the end of his video that a lot of people have, and Mrs. Boom and I get emails. We get a lot of messages from people wanting to figure out a way to better support the channel outside of being live, because a lot of people can't be live. A lot of people watch it on the back end. I haven't had an answer. The only thing I can tell you is, either you can be live and drop a super chat, which we incredibly appreciate, or become a channel member. Well, YouTube has done something which I think is the most forward-thinking act that I have seen them do since joining YouTube in 2017, and they have added what's called a super thanks button, and you see that on the bottom of the video. It's a heart with a little plus on it, and what that entails, what that enables people who enjoy the content that can't be live, that don't want to get into a monthly membership by paying $5 or $10 for the 2 tiers that we have. You could leave thanks in the form of a super chat that we will be notified that you watched the video and you enjoyed it so much that you dropped a super chat, and that super chat amount is whatever you find to be you can afford. It's not something I'm telling you to do. I'm saying that if you want to support the channel, and again, we've gotten tons and tons of messages. It's called super thanks. It's something that they literally just started. And if you can't catch it live and you want to check that out, by all means, we definitely appreciate it. And then most of the monies that we get, we literally turn it around and put it right back into the channel. So you are literally helping us fund lots of our giveaways. But enough of that shenanigans. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into one of the biggest rumors that exploded on the scene. We heard several people in the community, people that have, the ear to the floor, if you know what I mean. And again, folks, take this with a grain of salt. It is a bit of a rumor, but the coalition, folks, are working on a brand new IP that's not associated with the Gears of War franchise. And it's expected to release, ladies and gentlemen, in 2023, already a packed year for Xbox. As a matter of fact, we're going to be talking about that in the back half end of exactly what they're going to be showing, folks. It is going to be, I have a suspicion that 2023 for Xbox is probably going to be somewhere around what we saw with Sony in 2018. Crispy, what do you think about that, brother?
Oh man, yeah, it's definitely 95%. After some of the big community members, Shadows, for example.
Yes.
He kind of, said this, and it's from Jeff Grubb, but after that, I'm like, okay. And he has put out a lot of stuff about Phoenix Collection. So I know people are probably like, oh man, this is, they're not going to do it. I question that because Coalition is known to put out multiple IPs simultaneously.
Their team is pretty large.
They did it with, remember Gears Tactics, Gears 5 just came out. They did a whole thing at E3, and then you even had the Fun Pop thing, so it was like,
I like that game actually.
Yeah, Gears.
I played that game a lot, and I'm not a mobile player.
Yeah, so they have a big enough team, and really they use a lot of support studios as well, because I mean, let's be honest, UE5 is going to be used all over the place, and what better way than to really like warm themselves up. I am curious. I mean, what could they be doing? Like, this is something that you're like, if it doesn't have any Gears relation, it's something that I'm like, like, are we gonna see something that is just gonna blow people's minds? Like, I would love to see like them get the Punisher or something. You know what I'm saying,
dude?
Like you could just go on and on of what they could really do with like certain IPs, or even just make a new game. I think that would be incredible.
Well, look, here is what Jeff Grubb, who obviously is a journalist that we all trust and know. I've had Jeff on several times. I consider him to be a friend. He is someone that I entrust indubitably. Well, this is what Jeff had to say. Apparently, the project that we're talking about that is non-Gears related is to help the coalition learn to develop the Unreal Engine to its best ability, and they're doing this before the start of work for Gears 6 or whatever it's going to be called. And here is where it gets tantalizing. It is apparently going to be revealed and announced at the Xbox Game Showcase happening on June 12th. So put that in your thought process for a second. You know, Gears has been a staple in Microsoft's, pillar, right, of what makes the box the box. Gears, Halo, Forza, right? And you know something? I don't have a problem with that. I think you need core franchises to be the foundation to build your house. And that's what Microsoft has done. I am a big fan of the coalition. I think that we were talking about this in the green room. A lot of people didn't like the direction of 5. Look, I'm not going to say that if you didn't like it and I did, you're any less of a gamer. We don't do that on this program. But I'm here to tell you that it was the best Gears game ever. It gave us an open world aspect, which is something I've been begging for. I've been begging to be able to search. I like Gears for its close quarter combat, but going down the same alley, looking at the same skeletons and burnt out cars and broken buildings, we've done that. We needed some new things to look at, and we got it. And I absolutely loved every minute of it. I love the hard choices at the end that you had to make. I like how the difficulty was there. If you were a Gears fan, you held your own. But if you were new, you could lower the difficulty, and they did make it accessible, but they made it difficult if you were a fan. And I played it on a harder difficulty because I'm a Gears nut. But you know what? Let's bring in John Wolf into the conversation. John, this is exciting. Because the last time we saw something new from the coalition was Gears 5. And obviously we have seen multiple developers put out there, whether it's a dock that looks real, or it's a sandstorm, or it's a forest. Unreal Engine 5 is being used in ways that are going to blow our mind, and we've seen some demos of it. But listen, the reality, the on point reality is no one does it better than the coalition. And if they are going to unveil a game, that means they've been working on this for a bit. And 2023 release has me. I don't care if it's a 4-hour, look into a new game. Where does your excitement fall for a new project, a new IP potentially, or maybe the revival of an old IP?
Yeah, I'm very excited, Boom, because Coalition is definitely, they really carried the Xbox One on its back, if you really think about it. So they did wonders for Xbox during the Xbox One generation, carrying them with titles like Gears 4 and Gears Tactics and Gears 5, like Crispy mentioned. I do think, Boom, that maybe it's as simple as the answer is staring us right in our faces. And what do I mean by that? We know that there's been multiple rumors going around that Xbox has acquired licensing from different IP. Marvel did, you got Marvel, Star Wars, rumors out there. Indiana Jones is out there. And how about this one? Has anyone considered that they may be making a Matrix game? I mean, didn't they work on that demo?
They did, and that could be something. I mean,
So,
a couple of weeks ago, we had Skolzy from Skolzy TV, who obviously knows a great deal. Specifically, his forte is Bethesda, right? That's his bag. But he did say that that Xbox fans were going to be incredibly surprised by how many licensed IPs Microsoft is currently working with. So I can't say what this is. And big shout out to who mentioned Hivebusters. So I can't believe I forgot that. Like, Hivebusters is freaking phenomenal. I want to see a game just based on those 3 characters. But please, John, continue.
Absolutely, yeah. So really thinking about this question, Boom, when you sent it yesterday, I'm a firm believer that maybe they just gave us a sample with that Matrix demo of what Unreal can do, and now they're ready to unveil a full-fledged single-player experience. Based on the Matrix. Now, where the hype level is for that, I'm not sure. It depends on who you ask and if they're Matrix fans or whatever. But I think that the Coalition, they're the type of studio, Boom, that doesn't really matter what they're working with. They'll make it work and they'll make it awesome.
Indeed, absolutely.
Okay, so go ahead.
No. Please continue.
No, so I super excited, Boom. Now, I will tell you, I'm a little shocked about the Marcus Phoenix collection. I think, Crispy, you mentioned it, that Shadows has been teasing it.
That needs to happen. That really needs to happen.
It really does. And if you think about it, Boom, if you go back and, historically, and you really think about it, when Rod Ferguson and the Coalition first formed, they worked on bringing back Gears 1, and they did a fantastic job to test out that Unreal, I think 4 at the time, right? Unreal 4 engine. And they really knocked it out of the park with that Gears re-release. I really enjoyed that. Being Gears is my favorite Xbox franchise. So if they were to do the same thing, Boom, and these rumors turn out not to be true, that they're not working on something new, I'll be super excited as well, because if they were to re-release Gears 2, that would be epic as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know when all of this is going to transpire, but Microsoft seems to be in a position where they have literally so many games in active development. I believe it's over 50, right? Now, what does that 50 consist of? Is it all brand new IP? I don't necessarily think so. I think what we're getting, and what I hope that we get, look, I've said this before. One of the things that I love about Sony and the PlayStation is how they are not afraid to go back and pull an old IP and throw some new paint on it. Now, does that always work? No, but it does in some cases. We have heard, right? And again, this is a rumor, folks. So Morrowind is apparently getting a remaster. But it's basically going to be a new game, because if you try to play the old game now, it's not that good. Fallout 3 is supposedly being remastered, where it's going to look like a new game. The Gears collection, or the Marcus Phoenix collection, we saw what they did with Gears 1, right? They added all of that extra additional footage that was on the PC, that wasn't on the console, that was taken out, cut on the showroom floor. I think that they probably have a ton of stuff that was cut out from Gears 2 and 3 that could be added as new content. And I absolutely think that we might be on a renaissance of old IP being, remastered or remade. And something, I'm perfectly okay with that, while we wait for the Gears 6, while we wait for Fable to get done, or Avowed. I mean, who in the chat here? By the way, we have almost 250 people here. First of all, thank you for joining us on a Wednesday of all days. But who in the Xbox community, unless you don't like RPGs, is going to say no to a remastered Morrowind? Like, for real? Like, listen, I played it a little bit. My jam is Oblivion. Like, if they ever redid that, my God, my life is over. Because I'm going to play that like ridiculous. And hopefully I can still buy the horse armor, because that was a big controversy thing. I like that. Listen, let's bring in Web Dave into the conversation. Listen, again, the track history is there. No one does Unreal Engine better than the Coalition. That's a fact. That's not even a suggestion. That's not an opinion. No one does it better than them. And to hear that we are potentially getting a new game from that studio that brought us the Gears franchise, and it's potentially a new IP. My goodness, I am stoked. Where do you fall with the information coming from Jeff Grubb and several people, including Shadows, from the gaming community?
Well, I'm super excited, because you look at their third person for Gears. The way they did it, the way they masterfully, you hide behind the walls, you shoot the guns up. It's such a great feel when you're playing the game. I mean, and you can imagine some other great franchises put in that same kind of, obviously not copycat, but like the same kind of mold, that you could do, especially like Hive Busters. That was awesome. And to put something like the Punisher, in that, where he's got to clear out a part of the town and stuff. And it's just, I mean, oh my gosh, it's the possibilities are endless, and it's exciting. The Punisher is something that I would love for them to tackle. You have no idea, what they've got, or a Daredevil, like you suggested before, would be amazing. I mean, because that's your kind of, you can climb the buildings, the whole thing. It's he's multi-level kind of a character, so that would be cool too. There's so much possibilities, that I mean, a new IP at all is going to be cool, and to know what they've done with Gears, that's in good hands, and that they're going to make this kick ass. Whatever it's going to be, it's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, Crispy, and you have ruined me, because if it's not a Punisher game, I'm disappointed. I'm telling you right now. Like, now my life is over. Okay?
Punisher or bust,
Crispy.
right? It's gonna be Punisher or bust. Boom.
Yeah, they're gonna show this great thing and be like, "Oh, that's what they made."
Yeah.
You remember that Punisher? You remember that Punisher game from THQ back in the day?
Dude, you used to
had
put people in the piranha tank. You used to put people in the freezers. It was
Yeah.
great. Man. It was
You used to feed
incredibly
him to a
violent.
shark. Yeah, it was awesome.
It was incredibly violent.
That's the key word, violent.
Yeah, it's the Punisher. I'm sorry, folks. You know what? There's no taking any prisoners with the Punisher. Don't be a bad guy if you don't want to get killed by the Punisher. What can I say? Fuzzy, let's get your opinion on this, brother, as we move the show along. One of the things I think we are going to see in the next 2 to 3 years, including this year specifically, is the Microsoft timeline for games is going to be at such a pace that they're going to choke out the industry. Like, I honestly believe Sony and Microsoft, Sony and Nintendo are going to be looking at Microsoft and being like, we just don't have an answer. We just don't have an answer for you. And I'm taking nothing away from what they do. I love what they do. I support both companies wholeheartedly. But I think that the sleeping giant has been awoken. And seeing what the coalition, who is a staple in what Microsoft has been doing for years for Xbox, knowing that they have a new game, a new IP running on the Unreal Engine that is going to, and again, take it with a grain of salt, going to actually be shown at the showcase, which is only about a month away. And we're getting it for 2023. It's just bonkers. What are your thoughts on this, dude?
Well, we've always said that the coalition are wizards when it comes to Unreal Engine. Pretty much, they know how to manipulate it better almost than Epic, the creators of the engine. Seeing how they worked on the Matrix demo, it would be awesome if they did that. Or, it's crazy as it sounds, I know a lot of people have been playing with some of the assets from that demo and making a Superman game. So even that itself would be that would be awesome. But I have to agree, like something like the Punisher would be awesome. Or the one thing that I remember hearing before, and I don't know if it was like Special Nick or somebody, but they may have gotten like the message kind of mixed up on who was getting what, but a Mandalorian game or anything Star Wars.
Supposedly, that's being done by the team that does the online for Bethesda. That's like a thing. That's not even like a suggestion anymore. Supposedly, it's actually a thing, which is, again, it's to add to your point. Once again, Sculzy actually said he posted on it. And he got a lot of actually someone from the dev team reached out to him on the socials. So I guess he must have struck a nerve regarding the Mandalorian game. But he said live on my show, which was awesome, that we as Xbox gamers are going to be incredibly surprised by how many licensed IPs they're working with, and supposedly Mandalorian is one of them.
I mean, that's awesome. But whatever the coalition decides to mess with, I mean, looking at Hive Busters, like I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Gears fan, but the just the visuals alone on Hive Busters,
They're the best
it,
looking Gears ever.
I mean, it was one of the best looking games or add-ons to a game that I've seen in a long time. So I would have to believe anything that they want to make is going to pretty much melt faces and keep people happy.
It was
So I'm looking
arguably
forward to
also and Fuzzy. It was arguably the best use of Unreal.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah, I mean, just the environmental stuff, the water effects, the foliage, just everything that they did with that. It was freaking awesome. But yeah, whatever they're working on, not being Gears related, I'm really curious to see what it is. And
Can you imagine if it's Star Wars related? Like I'm just throwing it out there. Like we're
Well, I know.
talking Punisher.
Let's be real. Let's be real, Boom. I know that the rumor is that that the Mandalorian game is coming out of the Bethesda camp, but we all want it to be Coalition. Come on, let's just be real.
Yes.
Well,
Let's
the
be
funny
real.
thing is that recent demo that they did, a few people were like, "Oh, is that a shard for like a lightsaber or something that the guy was holding up to like the whatever that steam creature thing or
Yes,
mist
it's-
creature that was coming after him?" And people were like, "Hey, is that a shard for the?" So
for a lightsaber.
yeah,
You
hopefully.
could suggest that.
But
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to whatever it is. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
If I could, one last
Please,
point.
by all means.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the Gears
Um,
expert. Why
just
not
think-
get your second,
just
a second point in here? Go ahead,
Think
dude.
about this. How long is Gear 6 going to be stewing, people?
Oh,
You're
dude, it's
talking
like
they released
3 years,
3 to
maybe?
4 years, and they are always in the 80s plus for Metacritic.
100%.
Think about them
Yeah.
stewing it for 6 possible years.
Should
That
take a while.
game is going to be incredible. I also want to bring up, I have said it many times, Hive Busters has UE5 assets in it. They've been working with UE5 much longer than people think.
Mhm.
And they are fully capable of pushing out, even like I said, the Phoenix collection, it could absolutely happen. Maybe it's easier than even we think for them to make
I
that
don't
game
even-
much
listen,
better.
Look. If what they're working on, not this project, we're talking about the Phoenix collection, the assets are already there. To apparently to move over assets from Unreal to Unreal is again, I can't tell you. I'm not a developer. Crap, I could barely tie my shoes, but they know Unreal, and if anyone could make the transition, Crispy, it's the Coalition, the hands
Yeah.
down.
And the one thing I'll tell you, go back and play Gears 2 and 3 and tell me it doesn't need something. I get you got all the
100% it does.
up res and stuff, but like just the hitboxes alone just drive me crazy when I went back and played it, because it doesn't hit like Gears 4 and 5 does.
Right.
Even Ultimate Edition doesn't hit like that. And I think, to introduce people to Gears again, especially this new generation, I think is the proper thing to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, what an opening salvo. 300 people here, a bunch of super chats. The channel is officially, folks,
Hit the thumbs up, guys.
officially under 1,400 to 12K. That as of the show is going live, so I can't thank you enough for that. The channel's closing in on 900 videos. I want to do something for the thousands video, that's expected to hit. I think in the start of next year. I want to do something big. Is it Phil Spencer big? Well, that would be the goal. Sarah Bond big? Yeah, I could definitely go down for that, for sure. I'd love to sit down and talk with her for 10 or 15 minutes, but I'm going to try to do something big for the 1,000th video. I'm trying to, because these special shows kind of throw it off a little bit, so you can only guesstimate. But let me catch up on the super chats, and we'll get right into topic number 2. Chaos Mike, good friend of the program. drops the first super chat of the day, and it's $2. Thank you for the generosity, brother. He says, "May the 4th be with you this May." Yes, thank you, sir. May the 4th be with you. And I actually put a post out for anyone that wanted to comment what has been your favorite Star Wars game of all time. And I know that we have some goats in there. Super Star Wars for the for the Super Nintendo. That's a goat. For me, Knights of the Old Republic is easy, right? You can pick that one. You can pick even Fallen Order. It's literally the best looking Star Wars ever. For me, folks, the GOAT that still stands to time is Republic Commando.
Oh yeah.
My God, what an amazing story. The brotherhood between the clones was so real, you felt it. It just was such a good game. How it didn't get a remake, shame on you, Lucas. And how it didn't get a sequel, double shame on you, LucasArts. That's not fair. Let's get it done. But let's continue with the super chats. Oh, and by the way, there's a lot of people talking about Bug Snacks. Game of the year, folks. I'm calling it now. Game of the year 2022. Don't sleep on Bug Snacks.
Forget that. I'll go one more. I'll go one more. Boom. Game of the generation. Let's go
of the generation. When I see Bug Snacks, it brings a tear to my eye. Not because the game is bad. The game is quite funny, actually. It's how do we get a Bug Snacks? We don't get a Viva Pinata. I don't know, man. I mean, let's go. Let's go with Viva Pinata, okay?
Missed opportunity.
Sir X-Men. Yeah, 100%, dude. Absolutely. And you can play it on mobile, and you can go. Listen, it's coming. Don't worry. I know Microsoft's secret plans. I just can't say anything. Sir X-Man drops an outstanding $2 super chat. What's going on, brother? Please announce a Burnout collection only on Xbox. I like what you're putting down there, brother. Yeah. LMNOPO, good friend of the program. What's going on, brother? He drops an outstanding and extremely generous $10 super chat. And he says the coalition are masters of utilizing UE, I should say. They know horror, action, and co-op. If they are doing something now, then I'd expect to see something like a superhero action type game. How about if they did I don't know, Falcon and Winter Soldier, or something like that, or I don't know, Midnight Suns. If you want to bring some horror into it, you got Ghost Rider, you got Punisher, you got Moon Knight. It's crazy. Again, you guys have just ruined me. If it's not a Punisher game, I'm quitting gaming. I'm telling you right now. So I'm throwing in a towel. We also have Drawn TJ, good, generous friend of the program. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, "Morning, guys. Microsoft needs to get Embracer in a year or two." Yeah, you know what? Every time you say that, brother, Kay Asante, who's listening, which, by the way, crossed over 500 subscribers to his channel. The goal is 1,000 for him. Folks, for me, if you want someone that is always prepared, that is unbelievably an asset to this community for so many reasons, I could spend an hour talking about it. Go sub the Gaming Circle podcast on YouTube. Let's get him to 1,000. He's one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet, and he deserves that victory lap. So get out there and sub his channel. Drawn TJ drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Risk it for the biscuit." Who's a good friend of this program, said to me last night that it would be bad to buy Embracer. I
disagree.
I disagree, sure, because they're literally buying up everything, and then Microsoft come in and for the same money they spent on Bethesda, get 124 studios. But one thing at a time, folks. It's a lot going on.
And boom, if I may add, they're also the perfect company, if you really think about it, for the factory that Microsoft wants Game Pass to be.
100%. Yeah, right out of the. If anything, it's the turnout that they would be able to add, not fodder, because they have a lot of games, but they would really be able to. I mean, if they were, first of all, Game Pass right now and its current way it is, you cannot. Netflix doesn't do it better. Hulu, Paramount, there's no one doing it better than Game Pass. And this will be a $50 million subscriber conversation once their bangers start dropping. And mind you, they're at 30 million. Whether they say it, they admit it or not, they're at 30 million, and they haven't even had bangers like AAA bombs. When the AAA bombs, and they have had the Halos in there, obviously Horizon, stuff like that. But when they start cranking out 4 and 5 AAA bombs per year, the generation is over, man. But again, let's continue. Drawn TJ drops an additional $5 super chat. Thank you for the super chat and the generosity. He says, let the coalition make a third-person Halo or Mech Assault in Unreal Engine 5. I would love to do some third-person Halo stuff. I'm not going to front. I think everyone would as well. Let's see. We have Chris R. Hey, Chris, what's up, brother? Good morning. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, did the coalition ever find a replacement for Rod Ferguson? I wonder who will lead Gear 6. Yes, Crispy, can you answer that? Who took over for Rod?
I don't have an answer. I think they're going to announce it at some point. Maybe at
E3. I mean, he left abruptly. He's doing his own thing, and obviously that's fine. We love Rod, and well, he's back at Microsoft, ladies and gentlemen, because they bought the whole company. But who knows what he's right now? He's working on Diablo 4 over with Blizzard. But of course, listen, what Rod has done is just legendary. What could you say? Gamers Play HUD Zero drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, Boom, please remind people that Ninja Theory's gameplay demo of Hellblade 2 was Unreal Engine 4 using Unreal Engine 5 assets. Just imagine. Yeah, it's just crazy. That's a game that's going to really is gonna move the needle. It's gonna be that third person story driven adult themed game that we see on Sony that is gonna make people join Xbox. I'm telling you right now. Drawn TJ drops an outstanding additional $5 super chat and says, for the 1000 episode, you should have Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond. Listen, brother, I'm not going to say no to that duo, but this is a show that the channel only has 10,000 subs. I don't know if I could pull that off. That's a lofty wish list, brother. But I appreciate the enthusiasm for sure. Let's get into topic 2, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a smaller one. This one's a bit of a head scratcher for me personally, and I got to bring Fuzzy into the conversation almost immediately. Listen, we got some information that has come out. Regarding the next Motorsport, Fuzzy. And it was originally announced that it was going to be next gen only, which I had no problem with. Well, apparently that is not in fact the case. According to the report that I pulled from VGC, of course, videogameschronicles.com, friends of the community, apparently there is an Xbox One version running. Fuzzy, is this... Should people be concerned? Is the Xbox Series X and S somehow going to be held back by this?
Yes and no. And now here's how we can look at this. For the most part, my expectations when I hear next gen as far as a racing game are going to probably be different from most. But when it comes to the Xbox One version that was out there, I know originally because consoles were hard to come by and they had like a small test subject group working with them, and most of them only had an Xbox One, some of them on PC, but mainly Xbox Ones. Only a handful had the series consoles, so they had to have a test environment to test out a few things. I can't divulge my sources, but I know a lot of those that were on the Xbox Ones were having some major issues as far as certain aspects of whether it be the menu or other various things that were loading issues and such. That being said, cross-gen games can still amaze us. Like if you look at Horizon 5, that's a cross-gen game. All of the pretty visuals are on the next-gen consoles, and you get some decent upgrades compared to Horizon 4 for the earlier consoles. But my big thing of why I've said this even with Gran Turismo 7, why I'm disappointed with these not being fully next gen. Like I totally understand you have a large player base on the previous gen consoles. No one wants to pass up the millions out there that can purchase and play this game. Much like we see with Horizon 5, it reached 18 million players within a short period of time. I would dare to say probably 2/3 of that, if not more, were on the previous gen consoles. Some of them on PC, obviously, but a majority of them being on, legacy hardware as opposed to the newer hardware. My disappointment comes from some of the things that you can advance in the game. So for the longest time, we've been hovering around 20 to 24 AI cars on screen at a time as far as when you're in a race, which is great. I mean, F1 only has like a 20, car field for the most part. NASCAR has a 43 car field.
Right.
Most IMSA races are 32 to 38 cars. And when you mix up all the different classes of cars, it's well into the 40s and if not into the 50s as far as a full field. I was hoping with these being geared towards the next gen hardware that we would start to see that where we can increase the amount of AI on screen. The extra calculations that it takes for those should be able to be handled by this upgraded chipset. I know the previous chipset, it wasn't that it struggled, but they built it around having only 24 cars to be able to do 60 frames and have 4K visuals. So all of that was built with that in mind. I don't think you can have an upgrade for the next gen consoles where supposedly, well, not supposedly, but like for example, if I'm on an Xbox One and my friend's on a Series console, I can't enter a race where there's probably going to be more than 24 cars. If they set the race to have 30 cars, if that's going to be a thing, then that I can't imagine the crossover or being able to have crossplay if the different platforms or the different generations are going to have different AI levels. Another thing to take into account is going to be the overall like extras you see on the side of the track and things like that. Like now, Gran Turismo, they've always had kind of like a limited movement as far as like the stands or the fans in the stands and things like that. But they've had, a functioning pit crew. Like you'll see them do the pit work when you go into the pits. And they do that even with this cross-gen GT7. I was hoping with next gen, especially considering the early clips that we saw where you see the garage and you see almost like a whole entire pit crew and you're roaming around your garage with several cars in there and things like that. I was hoping maybe we'll get those animations in what would be considered a next gen, version. But it is a bit concerning, although it's still early on. I'm going to hold complete judgment until we get further details. But there is a part of me that is disappointed that if this is going to be a cross-gen title as opposed to a full-gen title, especially after they mentioned that this is going to be more of a platform that they're going to continue to build on. So we may not see like a Motorsport 8, 9, or 10. It might be Motorsport with, okay, not necessarily a season, but like this is, World Update 1 or World Update 2 and so forth with more cars, more tracks and so forth. If it has some of that legacy hardware coding in it still, there is that chance that certain things are going to be either held back or reduced so it is compatible across the board. Like when it comes to visuals, there was never an issue with Motorsport having, outstanding visuals. So all of that is scalable. But when it comes to things like memory, yes, you can have virtual memory as far as use on the new consoles. But if you're going to have a cross-generation game where the player is going to be able to cross-play, you're going to have some issues. And I even see some of those issues in GT7 where I like the short shift. Well, not really short shift, but change the gear ratios on the transmission. So if I get a jump because I have a little bit higher gear ratio to get a better dig at the start of a race, I hit an invisible wall sometimes when the rest of the game has to load the assets at a certain pacing. And it's the same reason why if you look at things like what is it, Grand Theft Auto 5, for example, all the remasters that they've done for the different generations. If you've ever wondered why you can't go over 120 miles an hour in any of the cars, it's because of the way the coding was written from the ground up, that the world can only load but so fast. Like even the planes, even though technically they may seem like they're going faster than 150 or 170, they're really not, because it really comes down to the ability of how fast the assets for the world can load in. So something built for legacy hardware is still going to have some of those, crippling issues. I'm hoping that's not the case. Turn 10 is a very talented studio, as we've seen in the past. Same thing with Playground Games. But it is, like I said, a bit disappointing. But we'll see when we get more info. That's all I got for now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there is gonna look. I get with cloud gaming. It's supposed to relieve a lot of the heavy lifting that the consoles have to do, specifically the older consoles. We know that you can do cloud gaming on the Xbox One, machines. There is going to come a point where they're just going to have to abandon the older tech. I know that you can't abandon me. I can't afford a new system. I hear you. And I'm not saying they should do that today. I'm saying that when you can get a Series S for 250 or $200, if you want to continue gaming on the Xbox and you want to play the new games, you're going to have to eventually upgrade. It's like why should I stay with a PS3 when the PS4 is available? Some people had to. I hear you if you did, but there is going to come a point where next gen is going to have to become next gen. Really, honestly, and I don't know how long that's going to be, but. Let me just grab 2 super chats that have just come in. Sir X-Man drops an additional $2 super chat and says, "Boom! Chronicles of Riddick 2 announced." Yeah, I would love a Chronicles of Riddick 2. Those games were absolute classic. Gamers Play HUD Zero drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "FM report to be taken with a grain of salt. The Xbox One versus that was reported are test builds." They're working on the Series XS opt in the background. Yeah, I would imagine that if they can get the games to run good, then they're gonna be released. But if they are just chugging along at 30 frames per second, they're just not gonna have to be. They're gonna have to cancel that, because why release a game that's going to be marred by controversy? You know what's going to happen in the gaming community, as well as potentially in the eyes of some people that are in media that have a distaste for Xbox. Oh, Turn 10 takes XY years to make a game, and it's not good, because and they'll review the Xbox One version and not the Xbox Series version, because that's just what they do for headlines. But Wolf, let's get your opinion on this, brother. Again, the report that I pulled originally was from VGC, but I pulled a story also from Eurogamer. It was written by Vicky Blake. She's a contributor there, and she published this on May 1st. And it's this all comes through 2 screenshots that were reportedly leaked for the next Forza Motorsport game. They popped online, then they popped right off. Do you think it's a mistake for them to try to put this on the Xbox One, or just make it next gen and just make it next gen?
Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, Boom, and panel, correct me if I'm wrong, is the theory that it's only for Series X and S because they didn't show an Xbox One logo when they showed the reveal trailer? Is that the only reason why we assume this?
No, the trailer when they showed it said next gen racing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I have that on my YouTube channel. Part of their clip where it said it was like a next gen racing game.
Okay. All right. So in seeing that's what they're advertising, right? That is there any thought that maybe this rumor going around that it's on Xbox One hardware, could it have been running in the cloud? Because I mean, it's well known that you can run games through the cloud through an Xbox One. So that's something right now, Boom, that the speculation. I think that I'm gonna be honest with you, Boom. I think that this is something that the fanboys are kind of running with to kind of knock down any momentum that the next Forza might come in. I have no doubt in my mind either way that if they were to release a cross-gen title, Fuzzy, you went into you're the expert when it comes to the racing games. I trust your judgment and I trust everything you say. But for me, scalability is huge, right? And I was just playing Forza 7 the other day on the Xbox One X, and dude, that looks fantastic running at 4K 60. So there's no doubt in my mind that Turn 10 wouldn't be able to bring out an absolute masterpiece, even if they were cross-gen. The scalability's there, guys. The jump to the next gen and to use all the features such as the ray tracing and all this good stuff, no reason why they wouldn't be able to do it, Boom, and still release a quality product on the Xbox One. Obviously downgraded visuals. in my heart of hearts, would I like to just see a full next gen, blowout? Yeah, but at the same time, I also understand that this is a game where community might be needed to thrive on. So when you don't have that many Xbox Series X's and S's out in the wild, it kind of makes sense from a business sense if they want it to be more community based. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it makes look. Like I said, I understand that there are a lot of people in gaming. Gaming is expensive, folks. Let's not forget that gaming is expensive. It is a hobby. Microsoft makes it easier for us to afford to be in the conversation because of Game Pass. We don't see that with Nintendo. We certainly don't see that with Sony, and that's not coming anytime soon with those two publishers. But again, not to be a snob or not to thumb my nose at the world, I am sorry to say, if you're telling me a game is going to suffer because of trying to please the masses, there is going to come a point where I think they have to abandon the older consoles. And I'm sorry, I know that's probably a crummy thing. People can be like, oh, boom, that's not right. But what would you rather have? A half-baked next-gen racer because they're trying to, appease a handful of people. First of all, it's a genre that is niche, and that kind of racer is even nicher, if that's even a word. That's even more niche, if you will. Motorsport is really for the gearheads. I buy it, I put a couple hours into it, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. I'm going back to Horizon. I want to drive over things. I want to crash into people's cars and beep at them and run away. You know what I'm saying? That's fun. That's what I enjoy doing. I like motorsport. I think it's phenomenal, but it's very, very specific for gearheads. And are you going to hold back the franchise for potentially a handful of people who are still playing on Xbox One?
How about this? Let me just put this out there. Lastly, how about if you remember back in the day, Boom, like when like the Xbox 360 came out, they had a next gen version of Madden running on a new engine, and then they had the OG Xbox and PS2 versions, and they were developing them together. Why can't that be a scenario right now where they might be releasing a Forza Motorsport, and
it's just going to be a dumbed down version? Yeah, maybe.
Well, they did something like this for Horizon 2. So when the 360 was still out in the wild and the Xbox One was the new console, Playground Games was the ones that did Horizon 2 for the Xbox One, and I forget who did Horizon 2 for the 360. Totally different games. Neither one of them were interchangeable. You couldn't cross play or anything. It was like Horizon 2 was more like Horizon 1 for the 360, while you had more of the open worldness for Horizon 2, which was made by Playground Games. So if they were to do something like that, it in their plan of having it where it's going to be more of an open format where the all platform or all generations can play together, that would kind of contradict what they've kind of been doing. So it's I doubt they would do two separate. It's either going to be an overlap where it's going to be the same game, just one is going to be at a much higher fidelity, a lot more bells and whistles turned on type of thing, while the other one is kind of scaled back. Or they could do the cloud. But from at least the tests, and like I said, there have been some of those that I know that it wasn't cloud-based for their tests. Now that could change. The test could be, like I said on Twitter before, a test is just that. It's a test to see how things go. And they've kind of learned that some of the things that they were trying to do just were not going well on the previous console. So if they switch to cloud-based, then it shouldn't be any problem. It'll be just like Flight Sim at that point. But if they have it where it's like Horizon 5, it'll still look visually amazing. Just make no mistake. I'm not saying that it will hinder the visuals in any way, shape, or form. It's more so now we should be getting away from just only 20 plus cars, like 24 cars on a track.
Yeah.
We should be getting away from not having a active or animated pit crew when you're doing longer races and things like that. So that's
real quick. Elemental P said it was Sumo Digital that did Horizon 2. So thank you for that, brother. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah, that Sumo Digital is phenomenal when it comes to racing. Listen, I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's really not much to say. It's 2 pictures. We have a monster topic to get into. Let's grab Crispy's opinion on this, and we'll get Dave, and then we'll move on to topic number 3. Crispy, well, I mean, do you agree that if a game is being held back, that at some point they just have to abandon last gen already?
And I say yes because I have a Series X and I want it to be the best on this behemoth I have in front of me. At the end of the day, I think Xbox is they're in a crossroads right now because there's Game Pass on the one generation. And you're supposed to be releasing these games day and date for Xbox. The speculation of, only doing it for Series X and S and not having the ability to play the new Motorsport on the one is, I think, the reason why they are even testing this stuff. And, because at the end of the day, if you look at what they've rebranded the PC to PC Game Pass because there's games we can't play on our console. It makes total sense why they did that. So I don't know. I mean, I would expect at the least it comes out on the cloud. I'm with Fuzzy. Like, obviously he's the expert on this. If they're having issues, let's just use the cloud to the best of the ability. So you're allowing people that have Game Pass on the one generation to be able to still play it while not hindering the people that spent the money. And let's be honest. I mean, $250 to $300, you can get a Series S and they're readily available. I mean,
I saw someone post that the Series S was $227. $227.
I mean, and this console is better than the One X, and the One X is selling at a higher clip because it does full 4K, but it doesn't do the frame rate. And
don't forget all access. Don't forget all access, Crispy.
Yeah, all access could make it affordable. That is absolutely correct. That's a great point.
So, I mean, get it. I mean, get it. Get ready for the next gen. And, like I said, I expect them to at the least be releasing any game on using the cloud that needs to be next gen only. But I don't see them. I don't see how that game's really going to run very well. With
it's
probably
gonna chug
the
along. I have a feeling it's gonna be like watching a choo-choo train go by, dude. Honestly.
Yeah, because I mean, like 30 FPS. Like if you have an OG Xbox One, I mean that thing is not even close to the One X, people. So it's time to upgrade. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, listen, I hear what you're saying, and I absolutely agree. Web Dave, let's get your opinion on this, brother, and then we're gonna move on to one of the massive topics of the day. Where do you personally feel? I mean, does next gen need to be abandoned, and is this a test case for that?
I'll make this fast. The Forza Motorsport needs to be the current gen, quote unquote, next gen only.
Yeah.
Period. Done. End of story. Needs to be high res, best graphics, 60 frames minimum, 120 preferably. Needs to be that way. And like you said, if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you have the ability to stream through the cloud through your Xbox One. End of story. It's done. That's what they need to do. Focus on getting the games at best, highest quality they can, and they'll still be available through the cloud through Game Pass Ultimate for people that can't make the move yet. And I did all access. Still paying off mine, but with that home, it comes with Game Pass. Imagine that. It's awesome.
Crazy.
That's still in gaming. Get it.
It's amazing that you don't hear more about it. That's like one of those deals in gaming that no one really talks about, and it's a thing. It's actually a thing. It's like, wow, I can get all of this for this money, and you're actually saving money on the back end of the deal, which is bonkers.
I tell you, Boom, when I'm done with my November is my last payment on my Series X. I am immediately turning around and I am buying through All Access a Series S.
Nice.
Do the same thing because it'll give me another 2 years, and then I'll have another console for another room.
Nice. So
there you go.
Love it. Listen, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Let's Let's move on to topic 3, and this is the headliner, right? This is the big bomb of the show. Last week's PM in the PM. If you're unfamiliar with that show, that is a show that's on Fun Speculations channel. Mav, obviously, incredible community member. Him and Pong Soul, two up and coming rising stars in YouTube, have a show on Thursdays called PM in the PM. It's the coolest quip, if you will, when it comes to titles. Pong Mav in the PM. I just think it's fantastic. Well, last week they had. Normally it's just the two of them. They go crazy 2 hours. They keep you entertained. They're a lot of fun. This particular episode, folks, they didn't have just one guest. They had two. One of which, I Steal Rain. If you're not familiar with him, you should be. You should definitely be subscribing and checking out Living Split Screen on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Incredible show. 3+ hours every week. Sometimes it goes for 4 hours. Like I clean my house listening to them because it just goes on, and it's all great content. But they also had Rand Althor, 19, the man with $1 million, and Rand dropped a megaton bomb. And that's what we're here to talk about. You've heard, if you're new to Double Barrel Gaming, I want to say please consider subscribing. We have talked about for months on end that the output that Microsoft is about to unveil at this year's Xbox Bethesda Showcase is just going to steal the show. I have a feeling, based on some of the things I heard that I really can't talk about publicly, that this show is going to be an 11. If in fact what I'm hearing and what we're going to talk about comes to fruition, it's going to be an 11. And how do you outdo last year? That's the question that I have to ask the 400 people that are here. How do you make a better show than last year, which was a 10 out of 10? It was a 10 out of 10 last year. How do you one up that show? I wouldn't want to be the showrunner because I wouldn't know what to do. But, well, this is why they pay the big bucks. This is why Phil Spencer's getting all the zeros he's getting. And the team he has underneath him that works with him side by side, like Aaron Greenberg and Larry Herb and Sarah Bond and Matt Booty and everyone else that is a part of that incredible team. This is expected to be one of their best shows. And coming off last year, very hard to do. Well, according to Rand Althor, and obviously we do trust Rand, he went out on a limb and he dropped this megaton bomb. And he says that from what he understands, from what he was explained, all 23 studios have delivered a gameplay trailer or something to the effect to show at this at the big show that has been announced for June 12th. Are you freaking kidding me? 23 studios, everyone has their stuff ready to go. And the show is still a little bit over a month away, right? Month and a week, 5 weeks. Let's give a take. That tells me that everyone has done the homework. Everyone is prepared. It looks like everyone's passing this quiz. And we got to break down not only the excitement level on hearing this from someone that we trust indubitably in Rand. Who are you most excited? What studio is working on said game that you're most excited for? What rings the bell? I posed that question to the panel, but of course the 400 plus people that are here. What studio do you want to see their wares? What is the what's ringing your bell? And I want to start first with Crispy here. Crispy, 23 studios. Everyone has already submitted, meaning that the stuff is ready to go. They a month before, they're ready to go, and they're probably putting it together because it's not a live show, right? It's going to be a controlled environment. It's going to be a tape show, which is going to go live at, I believe it's 1 p.m. on Sunday on June 12th, if I'm not mistaken, Eastern Standard Time. First of all, two questions, Crispy. One, does that excite you that Microsoft is coming with the big bat? They're coming to hit a grand slam, and more importantly, who? I'm going to say that it's probably the coalition, but out of the 23 studios, Crispy, my God, Which studio are you most excited to see their wares from?
Well, first of all, I think it's time for Microsoft to really show what being hands off
You're
is all
calling for the
about.
full Monty, is what you're saying.
I want a lot of people called them out after that Undead Labs thing that oh, they're too hands off. Well, if all 23 studios have submitted something, now Phil's got to sit here and figure out what they're actually gonna show, because I'm sure there's going to be a slight round table, probably in a Teams or something that says, who's ready for next year, and we'll start there. You know what I mean? Because at this point, it's like, if you need more time, you have all the time you need. So I think that's something that is just awesome right now. I mean, there's probably games that are going to be baking because, they have, they could release they could release, but you want them to be polished and ready to roll. And, of course it's the coalition. I want to see what new IP they're doing. I mean, that's number one for me. After that, I'm intrigued on, Compulsion, what exactly they're doing.
Yeah, that's the dark horse right there, brother.
Yeah.
That's the one that I really want to see. Yep.
And then you got In Exile. I mean, they are like, most of these devs are now saying we want to make AAA, games that have, started out as a AA studio, a support studio or something like that. So, I mean, it's very intriguing to see what they have. I mean, we know we're going to see a lot of Starfield. We know that, but it's going to be all the, one more things that, if there's like 5 or 6 of them, I mean, have you ever seen that in a show?
No,
I don't think so.
No, not to this date. Nope.
So, and you have a lot of IPs that are already like, I mean, what you do more Hellblade? You don't even need to do that. You could let them just sit there and have its own little state of play style. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to touch the ones you've already announced, but you still got Avowed out there. I mean, we saw that little snippet and it's still there. And Obsidian is a juggernaut now. Like,
they sure are.
It's such a huge pickup. Like I said, that is probably going to go down as one of the most underrated pickups in history, because they are running on all cylinders, and I'm definitely intrigued to see more from Avowed as well. So, I mean, there's so much, and I kind of laugh when people are like, Xbox has no games. Well, you wait. You could just sit there and say that now, but you wait, and trust me, this is the year. And that's because, Horizon Forbidden West fumbled, Gran Turismo fumbled.
Yep.
Those are your big IPs. I'm going to be honest with you. This is the time. If you guys aren't thinking about it, put the boot on the throat, Phil. Let's go.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see what we're getting from Game Pass in the next 2 years. And I can't wait.
Yeah, I agree. Real quick, Pixelbit G, good friend of the program, he drops a very generous $2 super chat, and he says something. Again, just going back for a second to the last topic. He said the base answer is look at Flight Sim, no last gen. Yep, I agree, 100%. That's a great point. Game is just too massive to be on last gen, and I think that Motorsport is too big to be on last gen. And I'm sorry. I know it's going to upset some people, but the reality is that I don't want. First of all, and I forgot to actually say this while we were talking about it. If there is one game that is going to sell your console on next gen, regarding graphics and speed and precision, it's a racer. More importantly, it's a Turn 10 developed racer, and more importantly than that, it's Motorsport, the next Motorsport, the one that has skipped almost 2 years outside of its cycle for games being released. This game has to release and look like you're actually in an actual racing stadium. You're actually watching the cars go by. Like, my God, I can't believe my eyes. That's how good this has to be. I believe that's how good it's going to be. And if next gen has to get cut because of it, then so be it. Sorry again. Ducato drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, if everyone submitted, why not just have reveals at Games On and Tokyo Game Show as well, to make them more part of the community than previous gens? I mean, again, what Rand said is they're not going to show all 23 games, but all 23 studios have presented their gameplay demos or whatever it's going to be. I would imagine that some of that is going to be saved for XO, right? Do we know if there's an XO? I can't tell you. No one said anything to me, so I'm just going to assume that yes, no. We know that the Keeleys are coming, right? That's coming in December. They're going to need something big. They've been pretty big in the last couple of years there, so I could imagine that maybe some big bombs are saved for that. But this E3 is going to be monstrous. Let's go to John Wolf next. John, where do you personally fall on how this show needs to be bigger than last year's 10 out of 10? But on top of that, what of the 23 are you most excited to see?
I'll answer your questions in the order that you asked them, Boom. I think that, the tweet that Phil put out basically it reads, getting ready for events, spending time with studios, reviewing demos, announces scripts is one of the most fun parts of the job. I feel like a fan who has sneaked behind stage watching the show get created. I can't wait for 6/12 to show the amazing work of so many talented teams.
Yep.
I'm reading between the lines there. I'm thinking they're bringing the gameplay, Boom. Definitely.
Yeah.
And the gameplay that me personally, I think we need to see avowed gameplay. 100% sure. There was a lot of hype coming from that game when it was announced, so it's time to show some gameplay on that. Obviously, the elephant in the room, Starfield. The time is now to show that gameplay as well. Boom. And what about Perfect Dark? That's the dark horse here for me. Boom, personally, I'm super excited to see how they can recreate this this brand, right, and bring it to life in a new way. So Perfect Dark is definitely up there for me, but the one, Boom, that I'm most excited personally is Fable.
Yes, you took the words right out of my mouth, brother. That is the one.
Yes, sir. Playground Games, Boom, is up there with Coalition as probably the 1-2 punch in on top of Microsoft Studios first party. Playground Games is not only do they have the potential, but they have the pedigree to deliver an amazing experience like the likes that like we've never seen before. So Fable to me is the one that I'm most personally excited for. But after reading that tweet from Phil, I gotta let everybody know. I think he's super excited because he knows that this is the year that they finally get to show off all the gameplay from all those announcements that they revealed last year.
You know what comes to mind? I don't know how many people here are WWF fans. Not WWE. WWF fans. Okay, let's go back to Jimmy Snuka and Junkyard Dog and Tito Santana. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. When Vince McMahon started getting into being a part of the show, he used to walk down the ring to the ring in the most absurd, over exaggerated way, with his legs wide open, and he's just at the big chest that he had, and he's walking down. And when I read that tweet, folks, I gotta be honest with you,
here comes the money.
With the song with the song "No Chance from Hell" playing in the background.
No Chance from Hell. That is what I thought of seeing Big Papa Phil so excited, because look, again, say what you want. He is the head of Microsoft Gaming. So if he is putting a tweet out like that, obviously he's incredibly excited. And he again, to suggest that I feel like a kid that snuck behind the curtain on behind a show and seeing how the cake gets made is just bonkers. And this is the year. This is the year where they are going to strut their stuff. I say that because both Nintendo and Sony, well, they're in a bit of a conundrum. I think both of those publishers are in trouble. Sony, I don't think they're going to have anything loaded to go. We're probably going to see some Spider-Man 2 gameplay. Very excited for that. I don't know if we'd see Wolverine. I know that there's supposed to be an announcement of a third Marvel IP that's an exclusive. I don't know who's doing it. If it's Insomniac, well, I mean, they've been the workhorse. And that would be pretty big because obviously they have the corner of superhero games and Marvel specifically. I don't know what else they can show. I mean, God of War, is it coming? Is it not coming? We don't know. Is it 2022, 2023? But past there and past Spider-Man and Wolverine, we kind of don't know what they're doing. Same thing for Nintendo, right? Like Metroid, are we going to see it this year after it was announced 18 years ago? I don't know. I mean, we know Breath of the Wild 2 is coming next year. I don't know if I want to see any more of it. I saw enough. Just release the game. So I think that Microsoft really has an opportunity to strangle the competition with their wares, and I think they're going to do that. Fuzzy, let's bring you into the conversation, brother.
Mm-hmm.
But before I do, I got to thank Poochie in the chat. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Are we sure that it's not going to be streamed on the streamed to the Xbox One via the cloud?" I guess he's referring to Forza Motorsport. Not everyone has a good connection, brother, and I don't know if I would be comfortable putting that out there. You know what I'm saying? Streamed or not, I don't know if I want that playing on hardware. I don't know if I want that a racing genre that's supposed to be 60 frames, 35 cars on the screen streaming. To be honest with you, I don't know. Only time is going to tell. We also have Jacob Novak. What's up, brother? How you feeling? He drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, "The rumored Marvel game we are talking about might be from a classic license because many people speculated in the rumor tweet that it's an X-Men game. Sony have Wolverine, but Xbox may have the IP for his team." Yeah, that's interesting. And Drawn TJ drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "I want a 3-hour show of nonstop gameplay. I want to be blown away. Plus Ubisoft Plus in Game Pass announcement." I think that's coming. I think that this show is 2 hours minimum. I don't think it can be anything less. There's just too much, and Starfield must be a 20-minute explosion like that. Redfall, we have to see. Motorsport, we have to see. There are some games coming this year that we have to see. This is their big show before the holiday. We have to see it. But Fuzzy, what of the studios of the 23 that are supposedly have submitted their gameplay trailers and demos are you most excited to see? And do you think Microsoft is basically going to let the cat out of the bag and go crazy for this show, considering that last year's show was, by many people's account, including many people on this panel and in this chat, a 10 out of 10?
Yeah. I think they're actually going to exceed what they did last year. And I know that that's a tall order, but I do truly believe that they'll be able to exceed that. Now, obviously, one of the most anticipated games for me, even though I have my criticisms of it, it's still going to be Forza Motorsport. Hands down.
That's not a surprise. I'm sorry. You know what? I am shocked and appalled by that comment, Fuzzy. How dare you?
No, but there's a couple of key ones, and you guys have mentioned them, some of them just previously, but it's the ones that I think that they might potentially end the show with. Like we talked about Coalition's, non-Gears new IP that they're working on. I think that might close the show, and that one I'm anxious to see what that might be.
That's interesting. I yesterday on the Xbox Factor podcast, we closed out the topics of the day with that particular question of what do you want to be the one more thing? I said Mortal Kombat versus KI or just New Killer Instinct, and that would be awesome. Lights again. Let me just paint the picture for you, folks, and I'll give it back to Fuzzy. So everyone, if you missed yesterday's show, just imagine Phil comes out on stage. Goosebumps are inducing, folks. I can't show you on camera, but they're real. And Phil says, "Hey, listen, I want to thank all the Xbox community for being so patient. We hope that you enjoyed the show. But I got one more thing. But before I show you what that is, I got to introduce somebody." And he goes, "Why don't you come on out?" And Ed Boon walks out wearing a Killer Instinct shirt, very, very similar to what Phil is going to wear.
With Kitana and Melina at one arm each, right? Kitana and Melina.
Yeah, no. Listen, I'll take that too. But he says, "Hey, Phil, thank you so much for inviting me to my first Xbox Bethesda Showcase. Today, I want to announce that NetherRealm Studios has officially joined Xbox Game Studios, and I want to show you what we've been working on. Lights go black, he disappears, and you hear the and it's Killer Instinct rebooted. And yep, that's it. I'm dead. I'm gonna say that right now. That's
Combo
it. I am
breaker.
dead. Live on the air because I'm going to be streaming it. But
Fatality.
please continue. Fuck.
No, hey, a Killer Instinct versus Mortal Kombat, or I always joke calling it Killer Combat. Just make that game. That would
I
be an
love it,
awesome
Killer
ending to the
Kombat.
show.
That's awesome.
Just two more that I think might be able to end the show as well. One you also mentioned was the Compulsions Project Nightmare game.
Dark Horse, brother. That's
Yeah.
the Dark Horse studio. I have a feeling, Fuzz, you're onto something with that because Phil talked about it specifically in an interview. If you remember that, we talked about that. He said that the interviewer asked him, "Hey, Phil, what game hasn't the public seen are you most excited for?" And he says, "Listen, can I give you two?" He says, "Yeah, sure." So of course, obviously, Starfield, right? That's easy. That's an easy drop in a bucket. That's an easy layup. But he turns around and says, this small team from Compulsion, what they're working on is just next level, and he's excited for. I think you might be onto something, Fuzzy.
And then the last one, which many people may have forgotten, especially considering Hellblade 2 is the centerpiece. Remember that Project Mara?
The horror one, yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that might come out before Hellblade 2. I don't know. I know it was a smaller team, smaller, experience type of game. So that
I think
could
10
also end
people
the show
were
as
working
well.
on that game. It was a very, very small group of people.
Mm-hmm. But then again, they had only a small group to make the original Hellblade, so it could be one of those surprise hit type of deals where it's like 12 minutes. I consider was a great game, but it didn't fly with everybody. But having it where it might be just in one room or one apartment or wherever the Mara is being held type of deal, and pretty much you're pretty much trying to escape her mind, or as somebody even suggested, maybe it's Senua, but like in current time and Senua.
Holy crap, dude!
Hellblade,
I didn't even
it's like-
think about that.
like her mental
you're saying like in a
illness
modern
taking
setting.
over.
Wow, dude.
So those are the things I'm looking forward to. I mean, there's tons of other ones, like even some of the third party projects that they're working with, like IO and Certain Affinity with the Monster Hunter game and Contraband. I want to see all of those as well. But I think ending the show with either Compulsion's game, maybe Ninja Theory's Project Mara, or whatever Coalition is working on. I think those are your
You know what, dude?
stars
Every
of the show.
one of those are worthy of ending. We have one more thing because they all are going to look absolutely incredible. They're all new IPs. They're all new situations like that. From what we understand with Project Mara, it's supposed to take place in one flat, in one like I believe it's supposed to be even in the EU. Where it's just one flat. I think it's going to have multiple levels, but this could be like the very similar like the PT. Obviously that demo, except it's going to be a full on game. Man, horror! What a way to close out. But you know what? I got to be honest with you. I think the winner of your conversation is the Coalition one.
Yeah,
like that
definitely.
is wow, brother. I didn't even think about that. Like I would like, man, I want that in the middle of the show, but I think you close out the show with that. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a strong one. Dave, let's get your opinion on this, brother. What of the 23 teams that are again rumored to have submitted their work for this big show are you most excited to see? Like what of those? And in your opinion, does Microsoft have a hefty hill to climb to outdo what they did in 2021?
Well, I think that Microsoft, Phil, are going to throw the kitchen sink at us.
I love it.
We are going to get like bombarded by and there may be some, CG trailers. There may be hopefully a lot of gameplay, but it's all going to just build the momentum of, Xbox has the games. Hold on to your hats. Here it comes. Every quarter, day and date. In Game Pass, something huge. It's going to be, it's going to be great. A AAA title. Every quarter, I think, is coming, and they're going to just set the placemat out and be like, "Here you go, let's serve it up." I think it's coming. Another thing that I'm the title I'm looking forward to, probably. I mean, there's a lot of them, obviously, so many, Starfield, whatever. Avowed. I'm really wanting to see, what Avowed is going to be about it, and I guarantee you they're going to show something more at this. They have to. Another thing I'm really looking forward to is going to be your big show, which I'm fortunate to be a part of. It's going to have a huge, amazing panel. The show is going to be happening, and we're going to be right there through the whole thing.
Live reactions, brother.
Huge discussion afterwards, and everybody that subscribes to this channel will automatically get notified. So please make sure you subscribe and get in there for that. And as far as how they end it, I have no doubt in my mind that there is something, if not 2 or 3 things, that are like that we have absolutely no idea, that no one's hinted at, that is just totally gonna be like, holy crap, they just dropped that at the end. I feel it, that there's something big coming, because they want to make a super strong statement.
Doom Halo crossover, Web Dave. Can you imagine that?
That would be cool. That'd be cool. Me personally, because Jeff Grubb has said that this is definitely something that's in the works, but finally the official announcement, and Kojima walk out on stage. I know everybody
That's a
likes
big one
him,
too.
but
Everyone wants to know what he's doing.
Sony people would shit themselves. Excuse my language. They would, and Kojima would come out and be like, hey.
There's gonna be a lot of PlayStation fans lighting a candle that day. That does not happen. Okay.
All I'm gonna say is that show up to the show wearing your brown pants. So if you crap your pants, you can just simply just walk away with it. No one's gonna know anything. That's the kind of show that I'm expecting. Or Phil's gonna wear rip-away pants. Or I'm in for it. I'm all in.
Oh,
But JC Calamaro drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, "Oh my God!" He says, "I'm at the hospital, and he's waiting for his son to be born. Congratulations,
Oh,
brother.
congrats.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. Listen, best wishes to you, the missus, and everyone involved. Obviously, we hope that the baby, your son, is going to be beautiful and healthy. And congratulations on the addition to the family. That is freaking awesome. Thank you for sharing something so personal." Folks, we still got some time here. We still got 30 minutes before this show ends, and we do have another topic to get into. And I want to get to that topic, but let me just make sure that I'm catching up with all of the actual notes for the show, because people do scold you. If you mess up on the actual timestamps, people let you know about the business. We have Jacob Novak drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "One last thing, Phil say Snake are." Oh my God, Snake, are you there? And a trailer plays. That's dope, dude. Like that's goosebump inducing. He was like, he does the codex. He's like, Snake, are you there? And the voice comes up. Listen, I'm dead. That's it. It's over. You guys just killed me. Sir X-Men drops another super chat of $2. Thank you for the generosity, brother. He says Xbox announces the Power Stone reboot. Oh my God. Yes, nice. Power Stone was incredibly good. Capcom, what are you doing with this IP? Just, you know what? You want to be a Nintendo, cheap out. Sell me the originals. Just remake, and I'm good. You got my money. But I do want to get to topic number 4. Let me see where that is right here. Yeah, we got to talk about this because this was supposed to be talked about yesterday. I promised I would bring it forward because I had advertised about it. In passing, this morning we talked about the Mandalorian potentially being made. It's rumored to be an MMO. And again, I would imagine that there is going to be a story that you can follow as the Mandalorian. But a lot of people are calling for you to be able to make your own Mandalorian, right? Which I think is bonkers phenomenal. Star Wars, as we know, is such a wide universe. Like most people know it for Luke, Han, Leia, Darth, and they're Obi-Wan, R2, and C-3PO, right? That's what a lot of us equate Star Wars to, at least some of the OGs like us. Some of the newer kids, they equate Star Wars to the Clone Wars, especially because of the animated series that just had 8 seasons, so it was popular. But the Mandalorian seems to be that genre. I mean, that character that has captivated everyone, young, old, people in the middle, normies, and a lot has to do with Baby Yoda. Obviously Grogu was a big draw, but the Mandalorian is an IP that is still sizzling hot. And we know that depending on who you ask, the Boba Fett series with Boba, not as good as when the Mandalorian came back. Then it went off the rails. And I kind of agree. Like I said, I'm a Fett fan, but it was a lot of with the helmet off. Same thing that a lot of people are dealing with the Halo series, which I happen to really like. And it just seems, folks, and please correct me if I'm mistaken, that the cards are starting to line up where Sony is slipping. This isn't a dig. This isn't me trying to be petty or to be messy. Sony finds themselves trying to ice skate uphill, and it's not working, right? And like I said, the cards are starting to come together where there are entities like a Disney, that looks and sees that the market leadership is changing, right? It's not Sony anymore. We can't take away what they did last gen, but that's last gen. Let's talk about this gen. They're down in console sales. Now, is that because no one wants a PS5 or they can't make them quick enough that they work? That's not my problem. That's Sony's problem. Microsoft figured it out, and Series X and S you can pretty much find anywhere now. And you know what I say to Sony? Pardon my French. In the words of the great and late Richard Pryor, tough titty. Sorry, what can I tell you? But here's the thing. It seems as if LucasArts looks at what Microsoft is doing, and they go for the gold, and they go and they grab a hot, off-the-grill IP in The Mandalorian. Now, again, this comes the way, and let me break down some information that we have here. This wasn't just Scalzi from Scalzi TV. Nick Baker, obviously, if you don't know who Nick is, Special Nick of the Xbox era, good friend of mine, good friend of the community. We love those guys over at Xbox era. Him and Scalzi were going back and forth, and they basically pretty much confirmed that this is a thing. Now, could they both be wrong? 100%. I'm wrong more times than I'm right when it comes to these rumors, but that's life. I gotta go to John Wolf. John, I know you're a huge Star Wars fan. I don't know where you fall with Mandalorian, but my God, if Microsoft somehow, some way at this show turns around, I don't even need gameplay because it's probably extremely early. They may not even have concept. But if they make the announcement that Microsoft has acquired the rights to make a Mandalorian exclusive, that is going to crack open the interwebs. What are your thoughts on this? Do you want to see this happen? But more importantly, what kind of a Mandalorian game are you looking for? Because this says MMO, so obviously it's going to be multiplayer. Do you want to make your own Mandalorian and tell your own Star Wars tale?
Boom. To answer your question, do I want a Mandalorian game exclusively on Xbox? Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Now, while you were going and reading about the rumor, Boom, and introducing the topic, I was casually watching Star Wars 1313. You remember that?
Dude, that game, it breaks my heart that game is not a thing.
To answer your question, Boom, that's what I want the Mandalorian game to be. I don't want an MMO, Boom. I'm not a big fan of MMOs. If you ask me right now the truth, that's the type of game that I want. A Star Wars 1313, the game that never was. Bring it forward, put the Mandalorian in it, and tell an amazing story. It's something that would definitely be, in my opinion, a system seller. It's something that would basically put Xbox on the map for sure for all Star Wars fans. It would be a must, okay? And it does answer that need of third person over the shoulder narrative experiences, okay? It checks off all the boxes, Boom. And more importantly, selfishly again, Boom, we were owed a Star Wars 1313, damn it. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna beat that drum to the end of time. All right, we were owed that game and they took it away from us, brother. So that's really all I gotta say, Boom. Because I'll keep it short and sweet because the bottom line is I do not want an MMO, Boom. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not even gonna touch it. I'm not gonna touch it. So
I
needs
agree
to
with
be,
you there. I agree. No, I agree, John. I think that, look, this is what they're reporting. Could it be wrong? Could it be an MMO with a single player aspect? Yes. Could it be as good with both? Sure. Absolutely. If I want to be selfish and petty like you, yeah, man, I'm sorry.
hell yeah.
I like multiplayer, but Star Wars is one of those types of games that I just want to sit with my headphones on and hear the lightsabers and the blaster sounds and the incredible iconic soundtrack ringing in my ears as I'm playing this single player story driven thing.
I have one more thing to add that I have here in my notes. What about there's been a rumor for a long time that Roundhouse Studios was working on something and no one knows what it is.
No one knows
Okay?
it is. Yep.
So if you ask me if they're working on this Mandalorian game and they can pump something out of high quality to in the vein of a Star Wars 1313 and tell a good story revolving around the bounty hunters and that's really the area of Star Wars that interests me the most. That's the one that I'm most, that draws me in. The Mandalorian did a great job of introducing more of the lore and stuff like that with the bounty hunter. So it's definitely something, Boom, that it's a needle. It moves the needle. It's a game changer if they were to announce something like that. The same way that the Sony enthusiasts, they hype up the Wolverines and the Spider-Mans of the world. It would be nice for the Xbox side to champion the Mandalorian on this side.
Real quick, Chargasm says, was that the real Major Nelson in the chat? Well, I don't know. I didn't even see that because I'm doing a million things here. I had the incredible pleasure of sitting down with Larry Herb in 2019. I think I had like 5,100 subs at that point. Ridiculous. Like Microsoft would work with the little Boom. I don't know if it was if I know that he has spoke. We obviously we talked behind the scenes. He did tell me, and I don't think he was BSing, that people from Xbox listen to the show, which is why we keep it PG, right? Obviously, for a lot of reasons, I like the PG element. Sometimes we drop an F-bomb every now and again or something, but for the most part, we do keep it pretty good. And that's because I know Microsoft is listening. It's important to me how we run the show, and I know that even for a fact that they might be listening, and if they are, let's hope that Phil Spencer interview when I hit 1,000 videos and kind of sinks in, and Rubenstein is listening because he works with PR. We love we love Rubes. But listen, let's continue. Crispy, I got to go to you next on this. Again, actually, before I do, let me just catch up on a big super chat that comes in from a good friend of the program, Smokey. What's going on, brother? How have you been? He drops an outstanding $20 super chat. Wow, dude. Thank you for the generosity. He says, thanks for keeping us all entertained all week long. Thank you, brother, for the compliment. He says, enjoy your break this weekend. Have fun at the movies. Yeah, I'm nervous because I haven't been to an actual theater in over 2 years, and I'm double masking and everything, and I'm going to be like the mom that comes with all the wipes and everything. But we're going in the morning, my brother. We have a 10:30, so hopefully maybe we can get people to stay away. Like I said, Doctor Strange, Kevin Feige, if you listen, brother, I'm risking life and limb for this damn film because I can't be held back and have things spoiled for me. So I'm risking life and limb for this. Risk reward. That's how I like to be, and this is very risky, but I gotta see Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of the Madness. But thank you for the super chat, brother. Crispy, this is a rumor, right? It's a rumor from two sources that I trust indubitably, and now it's starting to kind of make the rounds. And like I said in the lead up to the conversation, I think Microsoft has gotten so big and so important that they can no longer be denied a conversation with any game or any IP that's exclusive. And it would be pretty stellar if Microsoft did in fact lock up a Star Wars IP as big as The Mandalorian. I mean, what Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have done for Star Wars, I don't think you can put an actual thumb on the conversation and say that after The Last Jedi, which was a steaming pile of a film in every way, shape, or form, they literally saved Star Wars. They literally took the brand that started in 70 or 77 and put it on their backs and brought it to a way that we're all excited at anything that they're doing when they're involved. That would be pretty unbelievable if they did get that as an exclusive, specifically to have the Bethesda Online team do it. What are your thoughts on this, brother? Is this something that you want to see come to fruition?
You know, I got to say this. Mandalorian definitely was one of those series that really brought my love for Star Wars back. And I think it's for a lot of people. It's one of those things they really like kind of touched on the past, touched on the future, really brought you a new story that you really haven't seen before. It's one of those things. It was just, in my opinion, right now, and we got more to come, I believe. Masterpiece, you know what I mean? One of the best series I've ever watched. That being said, if it's ZeniMax Online, I think that's what we're talking about here. That's the developer that.
Yep.
So I actually probably said this because I think we had this topic maybe on this show a couple Fridays ago or more than that. That imagine if it's a spinoff of Starfield.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
Now think about it. You see the Top Gun, you know, that part, you know. So we're going into movies, TV. They use the platform that is Flight Sim to release the Top Gun. You know, I'm just saying if it's just ZeniMax Online, it is possible that they use those assets that are in Starfield to create this own universe. Now, MMO, I wouldn't like, but that's not necessarily true. If you could play as certain characters in that universe and be a part of a story, like in a way, I think people would be intrigued with that. Obviously, they should have learned from their mistakes with a Fallout 76. But if you look at Elder Scrolls Online, that is still a major community there.
And they're doing it right, dude.
Love
Like
it.
they have done update after update. It gets
And
better
there's
and better.
story there. There's story there. Okay, so I just feel like if it is Bethesda ZeniMax Online doing it, I feel like they would use the creation engine too and use the assets already there in Starfield and create a Star Wars universe all on its own. So
yeah.
I mean, is it possible that it could let people down? Of course. I mean, any game that, you know, you could think the highest of can all of a sudden not be what you thought it was. That being said, I feel like, you know, with Microsoft's backing and everything else, we don't have to have a cash cow anymore. We can just create a great experience. And I hope that's what this is.
Well, yeah, you know, it's to your point about the Elder Scrolls Online. When it started, like every game, it was heavily dependent on you being there with friends. And they have changed that in update after update. You could logistically right now go download that free-to-play game, boot it up, and play the entire game by yourself, and you would be okay with it. And it's done in a way so the Mandalorian, if it just imagine, first of all, to see it done in the creation engine, which we're going to see for the first time running when they show what Starfield. I mean, we've only seen little quips here and there. I want to see the game running, and they're going to give it to us. But a Mandalorian game using those assets and the creation engine that's going to be new with the potential of the ideology that, yeah, if you want to travel the Star Wars universe with friends, you can do that. But if you want to just sit down and play solo, you can do that as well. That is a winning combination. I think that, again, it's one of those IPs. And again, this is all speculation, folks. So please bear with us as we elaborate on theory, not actual fact. But the big business that Microsoft is looking to get into, we're here. We got almost 375 people still here on a Wednesday morning, right? We're considered the hardcore. We are not the majority. We are the minority in gaming. Microsoft has us in the bag. We're already here. That's not who they are looking for.
Could I real quick, Boom? I just had this really crazy thought.
Please go
Imagine
crazy.
in the MMO part, you could play as Grogu. I think people would go nuts.
Dude, but you see, that's what you're saying right there is what moves the needle for someone that owned a PlayStation 4, because at the water cooler at work, their buddy was like, yo, man, did you play that Spider-Man? Wow, my God, it's so good. Really? I just saw the film. Is it as good as the film? Oh, my God, it's even better than the film. And they go out and they buy a PlayStation for that one game. And they go and again, the normies, the casuals, whatever you want to call them, they buy 2 games a year, right? And Sony kind of pigeonholed themselves with, well, if you want a game from us, first party, 7643 New York, suck it. Well, Microsoft can turn around and say, we'll give you 5 months of Xbox Game Pass for that $75. Oh, and by the way, the new console, which I saw an actual sale, $227 for the Series S right now. That's preposterous. When that thing is $200, it's gen over. When Call of Duty is in Game Pass, goodbye, Sony. Last place. Have a seat. That's the way it's going to be. Oh, and I'm not trying to be derogatory, but that's how it's going to be. Nintendo is always going to be Nintendo. They march to their own drum. But when Microsoft finishes this deal and Call of Duty, I don't care about everything else. The Call of Duty is the play. That's the long play for Microsoft. When your buddy turns around at work and is talking to another guy that hasn't played a console game in, I don't know, 10 years, and he says, I just got Call of Duty for free. Because that's what it's equated to. When the conversations come up, it's not that, let me be proper. I pay $15 a month, and that's what I get in my subscription. No one talks like that. They're going to be like, I just got Call of Duty 2024 for free, and Sony is selling it for $76. No, man, I'm hanging out on Xbox. And this is a game that is in that conversation. Yo, did you see that new Star Wars? Yo, you could use Grogu with crazy powers. I'm sold. Your grandma's playing it. Your grandmother just bought an Xbox. Grandma Xbox is on the controller right now using Grogu because she's adorable. That's all I'm gonna say. But let's continue this ridiculous conversation. Let me move it to Fuzzy Belvedere. Fuzzy, listen, you've heard everyone so far. I've gotten a little ridiculous with this, but the truth of the matter is that Microsoft is looking, Phil got a lot of backlash, more so from the negative pieces of garbage of the community that's 5%, the toxic, the people that we stay away from. Mm-hmm. But even people in the gaming media kind of gave it to him. Phil Spencer, 3 billion gamers. What does that guy know? Well, I kind of think he knows a little bit. And if you are going to get 3 billion gamers, you got to have it from all angles, and with this deal they do. But getting a franchise that's hot, like the Mandalorian, even if it's an MMO, there could be a huge amount of single player elements added, just like ESO. What are your thoughts on that, brother? Could that be an actual reality, and would it be one of those feathers in the cap for Microsoft?
I think at this point it definitely would. I mean, you have to look at games like Destiny or even The Division, even though I know Division is not getting support like it probably should. But Destiny, with the content drops and things like that they're doing with that, if you were to have something like that in the Star Wars universe, particularly like the Mandalorian segment of it, I can't imagine how, one, how they're going to keep hardware on the shelves. if it's one of those things where, I mean, sure, you could probably play it on PC, you can play it on your phone, but that's like a thing that would move consoles like as easily, if not more so, than Spider-Man.
What if on top of that, what you're saying, because I love what you're putting down, moving consoles. Like console sales isn't what Microsoft is using in this generation. It's because people just don't play Game Pass on consoles. You play it on your refrigerator, you play it on your PC, your tablet. Most of the kids that are in their their early teens grew up with the iPhone in their crib, right? So they know how to work it better than you do. At 4 months old, they're telling you how to load up the settings, right?
Exactly.
That's how smart these kids are. But there's been a rumor that's been floating around for quite some time that at this event, and again, I don't know if this is the event for it, but it's possible that Microsoft says, "Hey, listen, we got a streaming stick. It's $100, right? Controller, streaming stick, streaming stick." Just imagine that they throw Grogu and Mandalorian on the box. They throw Call of Duty on the box. They're not going to be able to keep those things in stock. That is one of those buys that even if I would walk past it and I'd be like, I got two Series S, 2X. I have an S. You know what? I'm going to buy this. $100, no problem. And I buy it.
Yeah.
And
it would be an impulse buy, like you buy the candy bar 100%. At the checkout counter. So it's,
when I'm waiting, that Baby Ruth, brother, big fan. Love the nuts and the nougat, bro. Big fan. I'm always gonna grab it. So I know what you mean.
But if they do something like that, like I mean, I have more TVs than I probably have consoles in the house. So there's always another TV they could use, access to Xbox. Especially if they're doing
I'll find a spot for it, right, Fuzzy?
Oh yeah,
it's one of those things that you'll find even if you have to put it on one of your other HDMI ports. You just do it.
Just hang it and switch. I want to test the graphics, so you just switch between and see. I love it. That's great.
No, but if they do this with the Mandalorian, I mean, I'm not going to say console generation over or anything like that, but man, it is going to be an uphill battle for anybody else at that point. Just
let me tell you what's running through my mind. You're being a gentleman about things, and I'm going to get a little messy here. Okay. If that happens, if what we're saying, again, it's all speculation, it's all fun, right? We come here, we laugh. You know what I just envisioned? What you just said. One generation over, I don't know. Just imagine this near the movie 300. Phil Spencer is the guy kicking Sony, Jim Ryan, into the pit. Like this. He's kicking him, and Jim is falling into the pit. We never see Jim again. That is what happens. That's messy. I'm sorry, but I had to say.
Speaking of that, we do need a Rise 2. I'll just say that. But
I was playing the footage from Rise yesterday, and I got to be honest with you, Rise still looks good. And it's what is it? 9 years old. It's ridiculous how good it looks. But I know I ruined the podcast by saying that. But I'm sorry. I'm trying to reel it back in.
No, that would just be an awesome outcome. Like having the Mandalorian game, I just think. It's what we would all pretty much as Star Wars fans would want. In general.
Absolutely. No.
We can't get enough Star Wars. I mean, may the Force be with you today. Yeah. And it's like that, just hearing something along those lines. Just
it's why it's important to the conversation. I mean, all joking aside, it is because, like I said, these are the kind of deals that we saw Sony do in an abundance, man. Last gen, they sold nearly 115. It might be a little bit more, 115 million consoles. You don't do that by just putting out mediocre ware. No. They dominated the generation because their first party games were amazing, and they had people coming to them to do these deals because they were the market leader. They're not the market leader now. Maybe on paper, not in conversation. Not if you look at what they've done this year alone. Like I said, on paper, Sony had a banner year, but in practicality, not so much. Everything that they have launched has been riddled with controversy, whether that's Gran Turismo 7's microtransaction or the bugs in Horizon. You know, and like I said, I feel bad for games like Sifu. Sifu's an amazing game that should have had more eyes on it, and it got just curb stomped by, you know, Elden Ring, which is still in the news. And you know, again, on paper, Sony had a great year. Not so much in you know, actually doing it. So Microsoft finds themselves in a position where they are always in the news, and not for negative stuff. We had some negative stuff, obviously. We heard what happened with State of Decay Studio, right? That was a kind of a non-story, even though it's still important. You know, that guy is gone, but they reported on it. They didn't have a lot of bad news. This is one of those situations, Fuzzy, that I can see LucasArts look again. They're a billion-dollar company. They read the tea leaves very well. They can see the uprise Microsoft is coming, and obviously, if you just look at how that development house over at Bethesda handles big open world MMOs, especially, you know, ESO and Fallout. Fallout 76 is an amazing game now, not so much when it first started.
Yeah.
If they grab that Mandalorian license and that's exclusive to the box, man, that is going to move the needle for the casual audience that Microsoft so wants to steal from Sony. And this is, again, it's roles reversal. If you would have told me this last gen, I'd have been like, well, that's not surprising. Sony is just going for the juggler. Now it's Microsoft.
Yeah. No, it's always, it seems like these past few generations, there's kind of a generational flip, at least here in the US. And I definitely think that Xbox is going to gain a lot more market share this generation.
Yeah, 100%.
But with a Star Wars IP, whether it's Bethesda doing it or even Coalition, whoever Xbox Studios has in charge of doing this, a Mandalorian game, hands down, as popular as that series was, I think will be a system seller, a subscribing, you know, draw for many of those that may not be on the, you know, even considering Game Pass. I don't know why, but, you know, but for the most part, if they were on the fence, I think that would be that extra nudge to kind of get them to at least try it. And then they'll probably be hooked, because most MMOs like that are going to eventually hook you, especially if it's got the characters you want, the you know, whatever cosmetics you want as far as for your character and things along those lines. It hooks you with the story. Yeah, you're going to continue to subscribe at that point.
Yeah, real quick, Future Generations. What's up, brother? How you doing? He says, who would make the Rise to make Rise 2? I say let Crytek do it. I mean, just let them do it. Again, Nick from Xbox Era had talked about this. Man, it's going back a couple of months, and he said that he heard that they are actually working on that. Though he also heard that it would be a multi-plat. And look, I don't care, because, you know, Microsoft we have the original. The original is what it is.
Yeah.
I would love to see Microsoft lock that up, or at least get it into Xbox Game Pass. But I think it's time for Rise 2. And that could be one of the big ones at the show as well. I mean, they did say some third-party developers are going to be there showing off some new stuff. So that could be one of them for sure. But Web Dave, let's get your final opinion on it. I know that you're a big Star Wars fan, like all of us. How do you feel the impact of a Mandalorian exclusive would be for Microsoft?
Well, I think it would be freaking huge, for one thing. I mean, and the universe of the Mandalorian, I mean, you know, has Grogu, obviously, but it also has Luke Skywalker. It has Boba Fett, Ahsoka. I mean, the list goes on and on with the universe that it's in. You know, obviously you could pull other Star Wars elements in it, but I mean, it already in the show has a great foundation. I mean, and plus you can imagine, you know, Phil coming out at the end, say one more thing, and then you hear hear the lightsaber kick in. Boy, that'd be ice. That would be so nice. That'd be so nice. Yeah.
It's again, it's one of those situational moments in gaming that I think we're going to start seeing for Microsoft specifically. Again, when market leadership starts to shift, right? More eyes from other entities outside of gaming are going to look at your console and be like, man, they're always in the news. everyone's Xbox is trending again, right? And wouldn't you want to attach your IP to the trending company? Yeah, I think you kind of do. And Microsoft, man, they opened up 2022 with a bomb when they announced the ABK situation. And is that done this year? I don't know. And who's next? I couldn't tell you. But I can tell you this has been one hell of a show. 2 hours in, lots of laughs, a little bit messy towards the end, but I had fun with it. And listen, I want to thank. We had over 400 people here today. That's massive, considering that we normally do this show on Friday mornings, and I can't thank you enough. We had a couple super chats come in on the back end, so I want to read those because I don't want to miss them. Those are from Jacob Novik, drops outstandingly 2 additional super chats, one of $2. He says, then say Microsoft bought Metal Gear Solid IP and Kojima making it. I've been calling that for years. I think, look, that's like a fever dream kind of a situation. Would that happen? Incredibly unlikely. But just for a second, just imagine the media attention that gets. Microsoft turns around, whether they buy the Metal Gear IP, whether they license it, whatever. And it would be a giant big FU to Konami if the man that created that franchise came back after the way he was treated, the way he was thrown out like a coffee cup left on the workstation. It would be his way of saying to Konami, again, I'm not going to get explicit here, but it would be the big FU. And I think it would be a story that would be in the news for months, if not even over a year, because he would be returning to one of the most iconic characters in gaming. I like what you're putting down, brother. I think it's phenomenal. If Microsoft could get that IP and they can attach Kojima, that's stop the presses kind of a situation. He drops an additional $5 super chat and says, I did another super chat, but I think if Phil did buy last year the SH and Silent Hill and Metal Gear IP rights before the ABK deal, which they could have done, and gave them to Kojima, say go crazy and buy them. I mean, you never know. Again, there's a lot going on that are conversations we'll never know. That that's just the way business is. But I like what you're putting down. But listen, let's get everyone on out of here, and we're going to start first with Crispy Bomb. Brother, thank you so much for joining us on Breakfast with Boom. Obviously, your new location is on Primetime Gaming, which will be next Wednesday at our new date at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Brother, sell your brand. Tell everyone where they can check you out on other shows, and more importantly, reach out to you on social media.
Oh, boom. Gentlemen, always a pleasure, and I should take a deep breath real quick. At Chris Bomb on Twitter, Chris Bomb 28, Xbox Live. You can find me tonight, 8 p.m. on Gaming Beyond the Box. Yes, I'm guesting there.
Nice.
Obviously, it will be the final time I can do that, unless we do one of those,
giant
shows.
Crossovers. I'd love to do that. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
So we'll see about that. I got next podcast, 8 p.m. Thursday night. We got Retro Renegades Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Primetime Gaming, 7 p.m. Wednesday. And actually, I'll be able to make Breakfast with Boom next Friday. So,
nice, dude. Reprising your role. We definitely appreciate it.
If you can't get enough Crispy, you got them for the next 2 weeks. So enjoy yourselves. Have a good week, and stay safe.
Yeah, brother. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it already, brother. I'm already gonna start working on next week's show over the weekend, because that's all I live, love, and breathe this stuff. It's just I love being a part of the industry. I love being a part of the community, and I love talking about games. So this is like second nature. John Wolf, sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone where they can check out your incredible YouTube channel, where they could potentially be interviewed. We check out those interviews, and more importantly, reach out to you on social media.
Yeah, Boom. It's You can find me at John Wolf, exactly how it's spelled there, under in my little dialogue box there. Boom! You had me laughing on the floor, brother. I couldn't.
I know.
I couldn't compose myself. The chat, man. The chat has been fantastic.
Yeah, they were
You know,
awesome.
I've been seeing comments of Phil Spencer and Aaron Greenberg double suplexing Jim Ryan at E3. It's been it's been nonstop, and I really appreciate it, guys. It's been a heck of an episode. Lots of laughs, lots of good conversation. Boom, and this is the way it should be. If you enjoyed what you listened to, tune into all of Boom shows, because he definitely brings some thought provoking conversations and lots of laughs for sure. And yeah, check me out. Hit me up on Xbox, PlayStation, Twitter if you want to strike up a conversation. You want to get some more good laughs, man. I'm always down for a good laugh.
Yeah, brother. Thank you for being here. And again, sorry about that. There's nothing like losing your composure on the air. I couldn't help myself, because that's what popped into my mind when he said,
"You got me, brother. You got me."
I want to be, Fuzzy was like, I'm gonna be nice about it. No, don't be nice. Boom. This is 300. Anyway, I'm getting messy again. I apologize for the behavior. Fuzzy Belvedere, brother, please sell your brand. Obviously, you really dropped some incredible knowledge with your commentary regarding motorsport. Obviously, if there's any one person in the entire community that can give you the top, bottom, and other side of the coin information regarding anything racing on any console, it's Fuzzy Belvedere. Go check out his YouTube channel. Also, Fuzzy, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Well, just want to thank you, Boom, and the rest of the panel. It was awesome. Yeah, lots of laughs. This is so enjoyable, and thank you, chat, for coming out, man. Looking forward to the show on the 12th, man. It's
it's about 5 weeks away. I can't believe we're almost at the half of the year already. Like, my God, where did 2022 go? It's like bonkers.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, indeed.
But for anybody that wants to hear my thoughts on any racing sims or any gaming in general, you can always follow me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find my YouTube, Fuzzy_Belvedere. For those that want to see me or hear my thoughts on other topics, you can also find me on FSP, Fun Speculation Podcast, with Mav on his channel on Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Normally, you find me here on Breakfast with Boom on Friday mornings, but not this Friday, but next Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Xbox Factor Podcast. I'm now a member of that as well, with Fun Speculation, Mav, Pong, 3-Bit, Psychonauts, Assassin Lupa, Caitlin.
One of the best shows that a lot of people don't tune into on Friday nights. I mean, it's what they do there is such a family fun atmosphere, and so much knowledge, and so many personalities are there. Please get over there and check out that show on Friday evenings. It's literally phenomenal.
Yeah, greatly appreciate it. And then on Saturday evenings, you can also find me on the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam and Pong Soul. It's a smaller crew, but we just go over what we've been playing and our thoughts on things, and it's more of like barbershop talk, but gaming
it's good, but it's good. It's a lot of fun. That show is fantastic, and PTK Blam is a good dude. That guy's a quality community member, so definitely get out there and sub his channel as well.
Over 250 episodes, right, Fuzzy?
Yeah. I mean, listen, look, nothing is guaranteed in YouTube, and it's the talent is so vast, and there's so many incredible people that you don't know. To do 250 of anything in life, very hard to do. 250 episodes of YouTube. Not a drop in the bucket, folks. Nothing's guaranteed. Definitely get over and check out his channel. Tell him that Boom sent you. But yeah, thanks so much for that, brother. And Web Dave, sell your brand. You just dropped a one-on-one with one of the most iconic people in gaming, Dealer himself. Great interview. Talk about what you do on your channel. Where can people check out the incredible interviews that you've done, and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Thanks, Boom. Love being here. Thank you so much for having me. And my God, what a great panel today. You guys
This
are
is a lot
all
of fun. This was fun. Huh?
absolutely on
We had a lot of
fire.
fun.
Hell yes. Hell yes. And I tell you, it's outbreakpodcast.com is our website, or you can just do Outbreak Podcast, search in YouTube. There's a Boom is nice enough to put a link in this description of this show right here. You
Yep.
can actually click on that. It's easy to find. And I tell you, I've got some amazing I should say content providers that are up there, including yourself. Mr. BoomStick
Thank you,
XL was
sir.
my first interview, and it's a great interview. It really is.
Thank you.
Don't let him fool you. Don't let him be shy about it. He did a great interview. Not only that, but I've got Crispy Bomb. I've got Fuzzy Belvedere, and soon I'm going to have John on there as well, Mr. Wolf, the Wolf Man. I'm going to have his interview in the can right now. But coming up next Friday is going to be N64 Josh.
Oh, that's a good one. I like
did a
Josh.
fun interview
Josh
with
is good.
him. That was cool. And then I've got Ashen Luca. She's going to be on, and then
I
I've
love
got
Luca. Who
some more
doesn't love
coming too.
Luca?
So, guys, it's some good interviews, good fun. Had Randall Thor 19 dealer. Oh man, lots and lots of content. Over 20 hours of interviews right now.
Nice, dude. Well, listen, you've been working. You've been putting a lot of work into it, into the channel, into the interviews. You do a great job. You're
Thank
very
you.
professional. The questions are always very thought provoking, and that's what you want, and you deliver. Listen, folks, I just want to say a big thank you for everyone. Over 400 people that tuned in for today's show. Big thank you from all of us on this panel. Big thank you from me and Mrs. Boom. I want to say that the super chats that continue to come in and channel memberships, we greatly appreciated. And of course, I'm going to close out today's show with something that's important to me, folks. Hopefully, one day be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he said, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you, son, you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.